If you've been paying any attention to the world around you, you have easily realized that almost everything is a lie. Dare I say, a conspiracy. The world is not at all what it seems. Some may see it, many do not. But to understand one lie, you need to recognize a few. We need to think of all the lies around us, because every piece of the American way of life has sold out to corruption, big business, and government. The media narrative and hypocrisy runs deep as they go about their business of easily corrupting minds with constant propaganda, to the point now where every news piece and story has been distorted beyond recognition. And yes, even science has been tainted. Let's just consider some of the many lies, like sugar, marijuana, and tobacco science, or public water fluoridation into human-caused global warming and climate change science. How about GMOs and Monsanto, which is now owned by Bayer, which leads to big pharma and medicine, drug makers keeping you sick rather than the medicinal use and healing power of plants, which makes them no money. A healthy diet instead of low-fat snack cakes and packaged foods that are just making us fat and sick. Bringing fear porn with infectious diseases, measles outbreaks, and Ebola, which fuels the healthcare industry and medical malpractice. Biotech, pesticides, the EPA, and the lies continue onto the oil industry and free energy, down to the very education system that teaches it, as well as a false history, pushing Big Bang and evolution as science, with their dinosaur and missing link frauds, or teaching Common Core, simply public indoctrination programs. And then you have the college admission scams, and the universities creating huge student debt, putting people deeply indebted to the Federal Reserve banking system, which isn't even federal, onto the stock market, financial scams, and the rest of the lies. All of this in a free society, while being watched and tracked and managed by Google, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or even censored on YouTube, while Hollywood continues to corrupt the mind, pushing some alien agenda and a satanic message. And the music industry isn't far behind with their corruption. How about the kidnapping? All of it leads back to the government, which fuels the mainstream media with their hypocrisy and fake news stories. Every government agency is entirely corrupt and weaponized against the people. The IRS, the NSA, the NSF, FTC, CDC, DoD, EPA, etc. And who owns and operates the fake media juggernauts? Well, our very own CIA, who has been deeply involved with all the newspapers and magazines, just see Operation Mockingbird, pushing propaganda constantly, with their incessant mainstream narrative, including press releases from government agencies, universities, corporations, and companies getting rich off government contracts. How about the false flags and covert government operations? Just see Northwoods, Gulf of Tonkin, Operation Paperclip, and thousands of others. The entire political scene with election fraud and dishonest polls, the whole left versus right two-party system, pitting citizens against each other, or the entire CIA involvement in the military-industrial complex, as more war, more conflict equals more money and more growth. Or the so-called war on drugs. Our own federal government has been engaged in a shady operation of alliances with the world's largest drug cartels. Our incarceration percentage has grown by 6 times since Nixon declared a war on drugs in 1971. When planes took arms to the Contras in Nicaragua, these same planes returned with cocaine, shielded from law enforcement by the CIA. Yeah, an illegal drug trade. Just another pointless sham proving our own CIA is engaged with criminals and is criminal itself. Just look at the weapons and arms dealings of the CIA while actively trying to take yours. The constant barrage of lies and deceptions like the official story and the government-run commissions. So many lies, and I could do a film on each one of those separately, and perhaps I will. But this film asks you one important question. If they lie to you about all that, if they have deceived you at every possible turn, what makes you think that they're telling you the truth about space? You see, sometimes people want to know the truth, but many times they do not. They like the idea of truth, but not the actual, real truth. When it comes to the United States space program, however, in my opinion, people certainly don't want the truth. They want the lore, the ideals, that patriotic feeling, the ideas of space travel, trillions and trillions of miles, American dominance and ingenuity, and the brilliant minds of mankind coming together to do the impossible. It's our destiny to be in the stars. This has always been the reason for space, making dreams come true, inspiring children and adults to do more, to strive for more, to reach for the stars and to achieve the impossible. I believe NASA to be little more than a jobs program, mixed with some research and development, focusing on engineering and technology. They also sell a fantasy and a worldview to the population. They instill pride and wonder, but what they haven't done and don't do is go anywhere. Many people may not agree with anything I say throughout this film, and that's okay. I don't agree with most of what I hear in the mainstream media. That's because I'm looking for the truth and not just the story I'm supposed to believe. If you don't agree with me or see things a different way, well, it could be because you trust the mainstream media, meaning you do believe what you're supposed to believe, what this world wants you to believe, in which case I think you'll always be missing the truth. What I want to make clear from the start is that you're free to believe whatever you want, as am I. Eddie Bravo was on the Tinfoil Hat podcast and summed it up quite well when he said,
Hey, listen, I'd rather be thought of as an idiot for not trusting the government than a traitor for defending them. I would rather be thought as a moron for not trusting criminals than a sellout and a traitor for defending them.
I don't believe liars, and I don't trust criminals. Once you've lied to me, I no longer see the need to believe anything you say. The difference is I'm not lying to you at any point throughout this film. I'm giving you my 100% honest opinion on the subjects discussed. Agree or disagree, these are my personal beliefs. Space has always been an amazing arena for populist politics and fantasy conceptions. When NASA began, the space pioneer and ex-Nazi SS member Wernher von Braun was an absolute genius at forging public opinion with the ideas of space and space travel. He knew the power of space-related gimmicks. Together with the other dream maker and fantasy extraordinaire Walt Disney, they joined up to greatly sway public opinion by presenting space as a sci-fi fantasy adventure, a reaching for the stars, much like a Disney movie. Wernher von Braun said, "There's no Bucks without Buck Rogers." Of course, Buck Rogers was a fictional space character that debuted in 1928, becoming a very popular comic strip. Then it became a television series. It was so popular that many newspapers launched their own science fiction strips right after. Imitators like Flash Gordon and Speed Spaulding and John Carter of Mars. The adventures of Buck Rogers became an important part of popular culture, and by 1930 Buck Rogers took his rocket ship and left Earth. Buck Rogers has been credited with bringing into popular media the concept of space exploration, following those few before him like Jules Verne and H.G. Wells, and those who came after him like Arthur C. Clarke. So, as Wernher von Braun said, there's no Bucks without Buck Rogers. Let's start there and talk a little bit about the money behind the space industry, because this is a terribly important aspect. Only once you completely understand the financial implications can you begin to understand why and how they continue to get away with going nowhere. First off, NASA receives $56 million a day of taxpayer money. While it may only be 0.5% of the yearly US budget, they also get many other funds from donations, admissions, etc. But here's the most important fact to understand. Think of how big the music industry is worldwide. Enormous, right? Now think of the movie industry, Hollywood and global, even bigger. So where do you think the video game industry and economy rates with those two? What if I told you the video game industry is now more than the music and movie industries combined? Wow. This article states, forget about being a movie star, forget about becoming the next Beyonce. If you want to be rich and famous in the entertainment world, you should start playing video games right now. Gross video game sales have outweighed box office receipts for over 2 decades, and they surpassed home video and theater earnings combined 15 years ago. The video games industry has earned more revenue than the movie and music industries combined every year for the past 8 years. That's right, video games have passed the music and movie industry 15 years ago and have earned more revenue than the movie and music industries combined every year for the past 8 years. In 2018, the video game industry raked in $137 billion. That's $70 billion in mobile, $14 billion in tablet games, $56 billion in smartphone games, $33 billion in PC games, $4 billion in browser PC games, $28 billion in boxed and downloadable PC games, and over $34 billion in console video games, a total of $137 billion for that year. A huge industry compared to the movie industry, which only brought in $43 billion. Even if you include home entertainment and home theater, you still don't reach the video game industry. And music is less than half of the movie industry at only $20.5 billion. Crazy business, huh? Can you imagine one of those industries just going away because people realized it was all a fraud? Well, not really, because people know those industries are entertainment industries, selling fantasies, right? So where do you think the space industry stands compared to music, movies, and video games? What if I told you it is almost double all of them combined? Shocked? Well, you should be. The space industry was at $385 billion in 2017. Video games were at $137. Video games plus the movie industry, plus the home entertainment industry, plus the music industry don't even reach the space industry. So now you can start to see why presidents stand behind it, why it is needed, because it makes so much money and creates so many jobs. Whether anyone goes anywhere or not, as long as you believe that they have gone somewhere or eventually will, the space economy continues to grow and thrive.